Order! 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 I said order! Mr. Wright! You can't be serious! Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency! To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? It's impossible! It's not impossible. Anyone's capable of murder, Your Honor. I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edwards said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. We're in it together. It looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Can I? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Wait. Wait, I'm scared. I don't know if I know what they're referring to. Alright then. Oh, I mean, sorry, whatever. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got. And it better be good. Show us evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Is it? This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777. Real sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office required a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... You don't mean no. I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant! You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime! Yeah, we're making progress, guys! Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Look, good progress! Look, he's mad! Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulation. And I will demand Mr. Wright to be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant! So you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime! What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him? In days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? The trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Is it because of, this? Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. And yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh! Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Even though he only half-filled it? Who would submit a fucking half-filled form? And then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him. There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're gonna say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait! The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of that sort. Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. You would just give him that fucking ID card you give to civilians. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the records, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. And if you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! That was too short-lived! You didn't let me fucking experience that long enough. Chief Gant, you didn't! The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit a murder. My fucking god, why are you saying that so goddamn slow? After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. White, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. There's never a useless clue in your court records, Nick. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence! To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body! With a screwdriver! What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go, by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbing, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean I... The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car! That's weird. Edgeworth said that he had a lot of work, right? Why wouldn't he go back to the prosecutor's office after the ceremony? Doesn't he, unless he's gonna work from home? Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car! Yes. Unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief? Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye! Order! 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 What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something! I believe. Your time is up. My time's up? Oh no, I'm dying! Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier. A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. But weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? This is not a right. That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. And so you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. And that's what you're saying, right? But if you had inconclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor. Do you have any concrete proof? Stop saving just in case. Just in case. We've been doing well so far. Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made this guy dispose of his body? Do I have any concrete proof? I don't think so. But I also, what am I supposed to do? Say no? Do I have proof? I don't know if I do. I don't know. It doesn't feel like I have anything. Am I just not thinking? I have no proof yet? It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I don't have any conclusive evidence. Did I pick the wrong thing? Herf! Say Audrey! Wait! Was that the wrong answer? Oh no! In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Judgy, I'll leave the rest to you. Was that the right answer? He's leaving.